welcome back to section 31 and a half as we have questions. I am super excited to introduce a man with what a fantastic name, Joe. You may know Joe from the Section 31 movie that just released on Paramount Plus in January, a film that I highly recommend you check out. But you may recognize his face from a lot of your favorite sci-fi films, including The Expanse, and of course, one of my favorites, Orphan Black. We are talking with, and we are very gracious to have Joe Pingway joining us in the Captain's Quadrant. Joe, welcome.
Thanks for having me, Joe.
Of course.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Honored
yeah.
to be here. And I love your intro.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I've watched a few episodes and I just love that intro.
Yeah. Thank you. That is from our good buddy Jason. He's now known as VHS Jason. He started his own channel, so we support him, and we are grateful for all the really cool looks of this entire channel.
Did you say his name is VHS Jason?
Yes, VHS Jason.
Like as in VHS?
Yeah, that's it. That's his name.
So yeah, when you get to know me a little bit, I'm a little bit like, we still watch VHS. That's the kind of guy I am. Yeah, I'm like kind of an analog freak still take pictures on film, still listen to records.
That's awesome. Yeah. We're much the same, because I still own VHS, even though my VHS player just died. So I'm in the market for a new one. But I have my little podcast studio that used to be my walk-in closet, and I have my record player. And my project today is to mount it on my wall so that I can easily access the records without having to like slouch over. So totally love vinyl. Yeah, vinyl's key.
We still actively collect vinyl and VHS.
Wow.
Because those mediums, like, they go try to find an MP3 you collected from 20 years ago.
You won't be able to find it.
How you gonna play it? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. This is specifically Sony made these specifically for their players only. Good luck. Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure out how to decloud because of all of our images and stuff. And I'm like, I can't data manage. I just have no idea how to do it. But there must be a way to do it and not to decloud, just so you don't have to rely on it.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I've learned is having terabyte removable hard drives, external hard drives. That's been key. Like I have 4 or 5 of them lined up here because I do a lot of video editing, not only for this channel, for other channels that I do, and for my photography. So I like to throw everything there, and then once it gets filled, I like leave it because I don't really like to delete stuff. So I have it and available, and I can go back and play with it. So definitely think about that. It's very fun. They're not very big. Like I've got one here that's easy accessible. That big.
That's a terabyte.
Size of a VHS tape.
Solid state.
What's that? Solid state, of course.
Solid state. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's not going anywhere. And then you have a backup.
Oh yeah, and then I have a backup. So that's a 3T, and my backup's an 8T. So terabytes. Yeah. Yeah. Did people come to learn about cloud management?
I'm a rambler, I don't.
No, that's great.
Yeah,
you're good.
It's funny because my wife is a publicist. She works in publicity, and she's like, stick to the just really quick point. Just get in and out. And it's just not possible. Not possible.
No. We're here for this is long form, my friends. We're here for a good while, and then you can ramble and go on, because Lord knows I was born a rambling man.
There you go.
Yeah. We wanted to talk with you. You just had a fun run in the Section 31 movie, which is a new take on Trek. It looks like you had a blast doing it. I think I've seen all the photos that you were lucky enough to release on your Instagram, some of the behind the scenes stuff with your stunt double, which I really think is cool. But I wanted to go back a little bit and start from kind of the beginning, if you will.
Sure.
Because as I was doing research about you, you are a classically trained actor, and you were nominated for multiple Canadian Screen Awards, and you also are a short filmmaker. So I'd like to know, like, what sparked your desire to get into this business? Was it, I'm going to be rich, and that's why you did it, or?
I mean, I'll be honest with you. I finished high school, and I had no clue what I wanted to do
Mm.
with life. But I did know that I was seeing results and a lot of success in theater, because our high school had a very strong theater department and musical department. And a teacher there said, "Hey, why don't you audition for a conservatory in Toronto?" And I did, and because I really had no clue what I what what I wanted to do with my life, but I
Hmm.
knew I should probably go to university because I had the means to do that.
Oh, nice.
And so I auditioned, and I never heard anything. And it was about the middle of the summer, so I was 18, 19, and I was like, I haven't heard from them. I don't know I don't know what's going on. Everyone else in high school knows where they're going to college. So I called the department, and they're like, "No, we sent you what? Yeah, we've been," because they only accept a certain amount of people, and they usually hear back.
Yeah.
And so she's like, "I'm resending it to you like now. It should get there like whatever." And then so I got it again. And so
That's
despite
awesome.
efforts to stop me, I ended up going to theater school. And like, to answer your question, it wasn't really about fortune, fame, or any of that stuff. It was like, this is the only thing I really, really enjoy and I'm really good at, and I've had a lot of success at in
Yeah.
high school. Yeah.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
yeah. And I think I wanted to work more behind the camera, and that just didn't. You have to be another level of sophistication, I think, to work behind the camera. And
Interesting.
yeah, acting is a lot easier than creating and directing and being a technician and all that kind of stuff. Like acting, they give you the lines and they give you a mark and they put clothes on you. It's like it's a lot easier than creating. And I have made some short films that have been successful. They've been the hardest things I've ever done.
Oh,
It's
wow.
very, oh my God. It's like all consuming.
Mm.
Yeah. It was whenever I see a director on set, I'm like, I can't imagine what's going through their brain. Because there's a whole world's going on in their brain because they're trying to get it out on the screen. They have so many different departments they're dealing with, and it's a stressful
Mm.
endeavor. Is
Yeah.
I love it. It's
Well,
so much.
yeah. I mean, speaking
Because the
of,
idea is, so I'm rambling, but the idea
no,
is
you're
like
good.
to go out there and take a risk and make a fool of yourself, because it's the director's job to be like, "Hey, bro, can you just dial it back?" Or the script supervisor will say something. You have people guiding you. So the idea is to walk on the edge of like failure. So
Mm.
yeah, it's great.
I mean,
And
you did win an award for chili and cheese. So,
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
that was cool. Yeah,
yeah.
that's
I
a
mean,
good film. That's a good short. That
yeah, I
was
mean, it's
straight up.
it's one of those things that I appreciate, especially living in the New York area, because there's always somebody that tries to use that loophole and just get get free shit all the time.
That was
So
me. That's
that was you. Oh,
autobiographical.
okay. That was my question. It's like, what was the inspiration for this short? I mean, how did that come about? It's such a niche, but something I really relate with. So,
The inspiration was, I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm just going to say it, but the inspiration, I've told very few people this, was I would be coming home at 3 or 4 in the morning from like band rehearsal
mm,
and band rehearsal, whatever. And
yeah,
you get the munchies and you stop at 7-Eleven and you're just trying to figure out ways to beat the system. And
yeah.
a guy called me on it one night,
Oh
and I was
shit.
like, I couldn't believe it. I'm like, come on. He's like, no, you can't take it out. You gotta eat it here. And so it kind of just, but there's some like political overtones in the movie and stuff, which like I use the little silly circumstance to kind of talk about, underemployment in Canada for new Canadians who come here, and like there's so much bureaucracy to, you have people who are underemployed and overeducated. It's a
Oh,
thing.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Wow. So definitely another one that needs to be on your watch list, guys. So go and take a look, deep dive into that. It's worth it. I like, now that I know that there's political undertones, I have to see if I can get it again. And
Well, now that I've told you.
yeah. Now that I get more, my artist brain should have figured that out, but
Yeah.
that's something. Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, I used to do theater years ago, so that's the
Oh,
art
okay.
that I can't do. Any of the cool stuff I have to like beg Jason for. But so you landed yourself in Star Trek. You got into Section 31. Was that something that you were approached for? Or did you audition? Like, what was the process of you getting involved?
No approaching, but
Mm.
like I think I was probably I think casting probably put me on a nice shorter list than normal.
Okay.
Um, but when I got the audition, it's just like any other audition. It's just an email comes to you and you're looking at it, and it's labeled something else. It's not. They would never put Star Trek on it. It has to be all secret.
Yep.
And it was called Dover Court.
Oh.
Yeah, and the scene that they sent was the interrogation scene, and none of it made any sense to me. None of it. And like there's like nebulas and like fissures in the time continuum, and this is you're talking about. It didn't make any sense to me. So, and also at the time I had a massive beard and massive hair.
Yeah.
So, like, what are they gonna? Because it said you have to be comfortable with prosthetics on the audition.
Okay.
So then at that time I'm like, oh, well, but with the beard and the hair, that's going to be interesting. And then I did a tape and I sent it. And then about 2 weeks later, my agent's like, hey, they want to know if you're okay with shaving your beard. And then I'm like, oh, okay, this has to do with the prosthetic thing. And I'm like, yeah, of course. It's like, oh my God, of course. And then there were like, I had 3 other meetings like with casting, with Tunde, with Craig, with LA, like Zoom meetings and stuff, where you're kind of like going over the material and trying and exploring different things. So it was kind of a long process. It was at least a month and a half from maybe 2 months from my first audition to when I was on the movie. And then there was a strike, right? So the strike delayed. So I think I auditioned in July, and we didn't start shooting until January.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, because the strike
Ate up all that.
Ate up all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in a way, it was kind of a gift because I just had that kicking around. Right. I had that character kicking around, and I didn't see the design until a month before.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was like around Christmas time, and Tunde sent me a text. He's like, "This is it," and it was the freakiest thing because I was looking at a version of myself that wasn't really myself, but is. And then I was like, "Am I that ugly? Well, I really do look like that." Oh shit, man.
Yeah.
It's like so. It was freaky.
Yeah, I mean, we met through my photography page, and like people always go, "How come you don't put yourself in there?" Ugh, I don't want.
Yeah, me too.
I don't put my face.
Guys, we're character guys. You would get a lot of work. Like you should be getting yourself, and like we're happy looking guys.
Yeah,
with a bit of a dark side.
Right. Exactly. Is sci-fi your favorite genre to work in? Because I know The Beard is from Alert and a couple of other movies you've done and shows.
The Beard is from, funny enough, The Beard's from the Station 11.
Station 11. Okay.
So because that we shot that during the pandemic, and I booked it, and then we didn't shoot for months and months and months.
Oh.
And I was like, it's perfect time to let this hair grow and the beard grow, because it's like, because of the nature of the show. I don't know if you're familiar with the show. And then I just kept booking roles because with that look, right? Role after I did Titans, I did another show, I did Alert, and I did this indie film called The Burning Season, and it was a great look. Like it's a great look. And then I did Section 31, and they're like, get rid of that thing. I saw Craig Sweeney at the premiere, and he's like, I introduced him to my wife, and Mrs. Craig, he made me shave my beard, and he's like, I never would have shaved my beard. He's got a really big, huge beard.
Yeah.
Oh,
What would?
sci-fi.
Yeah.
I love working in sci-fi. I love it because
Yeah.
it's like the more it's like with comedy, the more comedy it is, the more real you play it. So the more sci-fi it is, the more non-sci-fi you play it.
Oh,
Do you know what I mean? The more you
yeah.
you understand what I'm saying? Like I don't know if that makes any sense, but
No,
that's
it
how
makes perfect sense because you got to play it more as a dramatic role because it's sci. It's like if it's dystopian, you got to play it out as a different way instead of thinking like, okay, here comes the
yeah.
Marklar or the alien.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and if you're asked to describe like a time fissure because of two nebulas that are whatever, you have to describe that like as if you're going to the corner store to get some milk. Like
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't know the coupling manifest with the self-sealing stem boats in order to get the lithium into the process core. Yeah, no, I totally get
Exactly. You know.
Yeah, it's
So
a lot of fun.
I do like it, and it's like one of my favorite fiction like reading genres, and but I'm not familiar with the Trek world like you guys. Like I have one of my best friends who's a photographer.
Oh.
He's like TNG, like backwards and forwards. Like he listens to the episodes. He has like audio files. He goes to sleep listening to them, and it's
Wow.
I'm so intimidated by the world, and I wasn't surprised by the reaction. Like I get it because it's I'm passionate about certain things, but now I'm starting to learn more about, like, I'm a total rookie. I'm not like one of these guys who at first I was like, oh, I'm going to study up, and so the fan base knows that I love Star Trek, and then I'm like, that's impossible.
Yeah, you got 900 episodes of TV, and
I'm a fraud. They're gonna know I'm a fraud immediately, right? So I just because with publicity with CBS and stuff, they give you some things to say, and I'm like, that's just gonna sound fake, like and I think that you guys or that the fan base would appreciate honesty over it. So
no, it's good. It's good.
So yeah, I don't know any.
Say, don't ask me about.
No, you can't. You can ask. You can ask me, and you're going to get like an honest response.
Yeah, no, it's totally cool. A couple of the shows that you were in were some big loves in my list. I actually have the DVDs because I love physical copies of things.
Cool.
You're in Orphan Black and The Expanse. Can you get into? Is there any real big differences when you're kind of dealing with those two worlds? Because Orphan Black's more of a sci-fi reality because they are cloning things. That's something that's a little bit more obtainable, even though Star Trek has inspired a lot of the devices that we had day to day. An Expanse type of world is very far, far in the future and kind of like harder to land base in. So what would you say is the difference when you approach those two different roles?
Well, the Expanse role was, I just did the pilot, and then I blew up at the end of the pilot. Oh, spoiler.
If you haven't seen it.
Yeah, we haven't seen it. And but the great thing about the Expanse role is, like, it was a blue collar role in that time frame, which is so far ahead of us, because they were just like kind of like a garbage ship, but they're hauling ice, but
right,
they're truckers, you know what I mean? So it's like a real blue collar kind of atmosphere, and which is great because it's like I'm saying, you're, like I said before, you're playing something that the concept is high and it's in the future, but you're grounding it as something like mundane and everyday. So that it was really easy to get into the Expanse world. And I don't know if you saw the short I did at the end of the show. So Stephen Strait and I were the first guys on camera, and we were the last guys, because at the end of the show they did some origin shorts, and I did an origin short with Stephen's character, and that was the last thing they shot. So it wasn't the first thing they shot. And then 7 years,
you're the bookend.
They're like, will you come back even though we killed you in the pilot? I'm like, yes, of course. And so I went back, and Steve and I shot this very cool origin short. It's I think it's on like Primex or something. It's on my Instagram part of it, I think, somewhere.
Yeah.
And then but Orphan Black is more complicated because First of all, my run on it was cut short
Oh.
because I was supposed to do at least 2 seasons,
Hmm.
but I had a conflict.
Oh.
And I really regret not like doing anything I could to make it work. Like I was told, your reps are like, it's not going to work. But sometimes if you're like, you got to make it work. And I should have taken it to the brink, and I didn't. But anyway, with that show, with Orphan Black, it's more, you don't know what's happening. You have no idea what, because the writers even sometimes don't know. It's kind of just, they're creating it as they go along. So you don't really know what your intentions are.
Mm.
You understand, which is
Yeah.
very cool. I was really looking forward to doing the next season because they were setting me up to be one of the more nefarious guys in the show. But
Right.
I had to go to New Mexico to do this other thing that I had committed to, and it didn't work. But working on a show like Orphan Black it's a real mystery. It's like you don't know your trajectory.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
because the story kind of evolves as it goes along with the
yeah,
illusion and like the spawning of the like cult compared to the scientific aspects of it. So that was really, really, I mean, and then they did the American version. They were trying to, and just didn't work out. I don't know. Sometimes.
yeah. No, for some reason it didn't do as well. And but one more thing about The Expanse too. It was the pilot, so
Mm,
they set out just to do the pilot. So you had all your, everything was in the pilot. Pilots are a little over-explanatory, right? But
yeah.
once with Orphan Black, it was like season 3 or something, three or 4.
Hmm.
They're full run into their like misleading plot lines, and like you don't know what's, so your kind of head is on a swivel. Like,
Yeah. It's all
yeah,
over the place, but it was a lot of fun. I was a very
it
first.
was. She's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tatjana is like,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a lot of fun. That
Yeah.
was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Totally. So you got to work with Tatiana, but you also got to work with Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah,
You've got the distinction of being the first Star Trek streaming movie
yeah,
that you starred in. So that's got to be pretty dope.
yeah,
And knowing that this is like the different type of Star Trek for everybody.
yeah.
Was there a hope that there was going to be like a spinoff here, even though you kind of burned up, but you could have come back anyway because there's still another version of
Absolutely, absolutely. Wait, so when we were working, the first day on set was the interrogation scene,
it? Hmm.
and it was a Monday,
Hmm.
and my call was 2:15 a.m. to be on set for blocking with Michelle at 8 a.m.
Okay.
So I was in the chair for 5.5 hours getting all that stuff on,
Yeah.
and I was nervous as hell, but I was very prepared. I was very prepared, and Tunde was like, we shot that scene 6 ways to Sunday.
Oh wow.
He really wanted to set the tone. He's like, he even said in one of the cons, he's like, I picked that scene because I really wanted to set the tone, and that meant like the world to me. I was like, oh my god, that's amazing.
Yeah.
And all the other cast were there. That doesn't usually happen. They were kind of all watching the monitors, and I didn't leave the area, the soundstage we were shooting, till hours into filming the scene. And they're all there looking at the monitors, and a few of them came up to me because me and Tunde would say things to me. He's like, "Do this," and I was just going all over the place. And one of the cast members were like, "What are you doing? There's like a lot of stuff you're doing is not in the script." They're like, "What's going on there?" And I'm like, "I'm not doing anything that I'm not told to do." Right? It was kind of funny,
Mm.
but we explored the heck out of it. And Michelle is so generous that she's like encouraging that. A lot of time, like an A-lister or someone who has a lot of status, they're kind of like tapping their foot, and they're waiting to get the heck out of there.
Mm.
Like move on, let's move on, kind of thing. That
Right.
happens, right? It's showbiz. She's like all about exploring and like let's try to get every beat we can,
Oh,
try.
nice.
Yeah, and so when we sat down for a break and we were sitting by the monitors, to answer your question, like did I think there'd be like spin-off potential or whatever?
Hmm.
They were watching retakes or whatever. They were watching takes back, and Michelle looks over to me and she's like, she's like, she said something really nice to me. And then she goes, we should not kill him off.
Yeah.
He should not be killed off.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I hadn't said anything like all day to anybody except my lines because I'm nervous as hell. And I'm like, did everybody hear that?
Don't kill me off. I can
Yeah.
come back.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that leads me to my next question, because this is a parallel universe world when it comes to your film. This is all about different times,
Totally.
space.
There's
you think
like
Data No's still chilling in the Alpha Quadrant? You think there's
well, isn't there a okay, this is where I'm lost and none of this has been explained to me. Like, I didn't know that apparently he's Delton. Is he
right?
Right? So
yeah, he's not.
Okay, and there's so is there a prime and a mirror version?
Yeah.
And so there's that, and also in the film there's a line like Giorgio says that Data No is not the Data No that
Correct.
you think he is.
Yep.
So she knows, she's already on to him.
Yeah.
That he's full of it, and he's not the Data No that he's telling them.
Right. He's the mirror universe Data No. So
yeah,
you're still running around.
I could be
not burnt. You're not Kentucky Fried Chicken in this universe. You're here.
It's a fun character. It was like I thought my goal was really to get them, like, as an actor in that scene, because I know it's Giorgio. My goal is to get them to end my life as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Right, because I know do it quickly, right? So I'm just trying to annoy them and just be as disrespectful as possible, right? So that's the goal.
Yeah, it worked out. It worked out. It looks like you had a lot of fun doing it.
I generally do that with people. Either people love me or they're not so loving. Thank you that it worked out.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, you got to feel good because, like, you actually were in, like, the press releases and in the trailers before, and, like, the real trailer dropped. Like, they had those teasers and you were there, and you've got Michelle Yeoh, like, leaning on you, whispering. I thought you were going to be, like, the main bad guy because the way it was set up, you were in the chair, and I was like, oh, is he, like, the captain of the bad ship that they have to, like, destroy? I was, like, playing with it in my head, but how excited were you when that photo came out of Michelle, like, kind of leaning, whispering, whatever it is?
I was just shocked. I was shocked. I was like, I was like, I was pretty blown away. And then they were using him in some of the trailers, and they were using him for the morning show clips. Like,
all over the place.
That's crazy. I posted some of that stuff, and it's just like, I mean, you have to. It's just like, I'm very proud of that work, and just, like, so fortunate that they chose that.
Yeah.
Those parts. Yeah.
It's epic.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I've never had anything like that.
Yeah. And you said
probably never will again. What's that?
No, you never know, man.
Star
Trek is a cyclical thing, but that's a question I'll ask it now. I mean, you got Star Trek. You see, the universe is so encompassing, and even though you get characters that have mirrored versions of each other, and the actor can play several versions of itself or herself, you also have an opportunity to play other aliens because it's a lot of makeup. Or you can play a captain. Is there, if you got asked to return to Star Trek, is there, like, a particular alien species you would want to return for, or would you rather be like a human that kind of?
Oh, I'd want to do the prosthetic for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, unless, like, I mean, I will put it this way: it's freeing to when you have it. It frees you up. I don't think I could have gotten the Data No that we got like this. You know what I mean? Once Tunde sent me the design, which was only a month earlier, and, you know, I just think it freed me. It allowed me to, and you have to remember, like, how ridiculous his outfit was, like, just how gaudy, like,
super
vain, and all these mods are his mods that, there's some stuff that was cut, but, like, he's a vain person. He's just, like, all about his look and everything. So, yeah, and it was a lot of fun to work with the VFX stuff. It informs the performance a lot.
Yeah.
So I don't mind. Yeah. To me, do I really look like this doesn't look like a Starfleet guy.
No, there's you got your badmirals, you got your guys that break the code and go
Did you
off.
say Badmiral?
Bad admirals. That's a big
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
You
Okay.
got your dadmirals, which are the hot daddy admirals, and then you got your badmirals, which are like the admirals that are doing stuff auspiciously in the shadows. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's the beauty of Star Trek. There's such a wide range of everything that you can be, because it's infinite possibilities and infinite diversity, and that's why we love it so much.
Who
Because
who's the top dog in the Star Trek world? Character wise.
top dog, as far as what, like a captain or a
Yeah,
character?
like no, not necessarily, no, like character,
Mm.
regardless of rank. Like who's like, okay, who are the holy trinities, so to
Who are
speak?
the holy trinities? In my purview, because I'm a niner, I'm a Deep Space Nine guy. It's always Cisco, Kira Nerys, and Worf. And then like you have your subsection characters, which you love because they're so intriguing and so there's so many layers to them. That's why I love Deep Space Nine to him, because it's so much, because it's more than just, okay, here's your character, he does this and that's what his goal is. This character, your subsection is, you have Garrick, who's a tailor and a spy, and he's either helping or hurting them, and you're not really sure throughout most of the show because there's so much depth to him. Is he just a tailor and he's just exiled out here for some reason, or is he a spy and he's spying on us? Then you have Odo, who's a shapeshifter, who's the police chief on the station, and he's kind of making everything kind of go right, but he's also helping Quark in some ways, as well as kind of putting him in line. There's just so much to these characters. That's why I love them. But if you're going to look at it from a perspective of a casual fan, you're looking, oh, Kirk, Spock, McCoy, or Picard, Riker, Data, LaForge, or those main guys. I think a lot of people would kind of lean on. Everybody has that Data Spock thing that goes on
So
because they.
you're a niner,
Mm-hmm.
and how many seasons was that?
That was 7 seasons.
And so for 7 seasons, there were characters that you didn't really know where they stood morally.
Until the very end, you didn't really know, because like they had one of my favorite episodes is a two-parter, the Dias cast, and the episode that precedes it. And Garrick had the opportunity to go back to the Obsidian Order, which is Starfleet has Section 31, which is the movie that you were in, and then Deep Space Nine. The Romulans have the Tal Shiar, and then you have the Obsidian Order in Cardassian society. So he's this spy, our MI6, our CIA. He's like that guy. And you're thinking, well, I guess he's adjusted to life here and everything's kind of cool. And he's really having a great relationship with Dr. Bashir and he's helping him through all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, hey, Nabrantain just came out of hiding and he's going to have this great plan to join the Romulans and the Cardassians to go and, destroy the founders. Oh, by the way, that character Odo, who's a shapeshifter, looks just like them. Oh, it turns out he's a part of them. It was just so much. It was like, oh, wow, this is incredible. And you didn't really know where Garrick stood until the last season. Okay, Garrick's a good guy. So it's just
That's a slow burn, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He basically betrayed, and like in the episode, he kind of like saves him after he torches the guy. It's a lot. That's an episode you should definitely watch.
And so go ahead.
He goes from setting up his own death because somebody else was trying to kill him because he knew Nabrantain was doing it, to joining Nabrantain, the main bad guy, and torturing his friend in order to get information about the people that they're going after, but he doesn't know because that species sends their young out into the universe to learn about other species so that they can come back and conquer them, the Dominion. So there was just so much. It was like, holy smokes.
And at the end of 9, okay, were you satisfied?
Absolutely.
And what did it air on? Was that on?
That was on back. Well, I mean, in the US, it was WPIX CW11.
So it was on free to air? Like
Yeah.
You didn't pay for it.
Right.
I think a lot of the issues with things now are the streaming models killing things. I mean, I think it's affecting a lot of the writing and the longevity of things, because
I mean, you have to think about it. You had primetime slots that needed to be filled, and they needed a space of September to December and then January to May. So you had these long-term plots and stories that you had to build. And then you had what I love, and that's part of our show, is the Agony Booth, where we go back and watch those filler episodes. It's like, oh, we're going to learn a little bit about, Troy in this episode, and she's from Beta Z, and her mom's the queen of Beta Z. She's the high priestess, or the high mother, or something like that. And then, yeah, when they get married, they're naked, and there's just really not too much going on. It's kind of slow, and there's like interesting subtexts and such, but you just get drawn into that because those slow filler episodes are so much fun still, because you're still getting an understanding of a character that you are learning about throughout the series, but you get a deeper understanding and the ability of time to do it. Whereas now everything has to be summed up in 10 episodes, which is why I'm happy kind of Skydance took over. Maybe they'll have a different model from Paramount, which is like 10 episodes, that's it. Everything's 5 seasons, done. There's a lot you can explore.
Yeah. Yeah, and they were doing, how many episodes was 9 a season?
7 seasons. It was 20 to 25 episodes a season.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, yeah.
So much content. That's crazy.
So much content. Yeah.
And you have it on Blu-ray, or you have
I have it on Blu-ray. Actually, no. I have a gift this week was the ultimate set of the TNG series on Blu-ray.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really cool. This is not I think this is the regular version. It's not the new updated.
Wait, that's TNG, not it's Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, not Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine's in another room. Kind of.
But you have
fantastic. I can't reach.
Like it's in a vault.
Yeah.
It's in a special area.
Yeah. No, it's in another area because like they're made out of. So I'm a purist, so I have them in an area where the sunlight doesn't get them because they're made. Yeah, I know. People don't realize how weird I am. You've exposed me, Joe. No, they're made out of this special plastic, but that plastic in the 90s when that stuff came out, 2000s, late 90s, 2000s.
It'll off gas.
Yeah, it'll off gas. So you get like what's called phonic yellowing, because I happen to be a QA specialist as a 9 to 5. And one of the tests that you have to do for products is phonic yellowing, because some areas get constant daylight for the entire day for 24 hours, like Alaska.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, the first time I had the box set, I left it on a bookshelf that got sunlight. So it phonic yellowed my entire series, and the casing was all messed up. So I've been going on a random hunt for rebuilding the series for myself, because I got the first season with the proper DVD, but it's not phonic yellowed. So I've been going to like thrift stores and mom and pop record stores that happen to sell DVDs so that I can re-get them the proper way. I tell you, I'm a cool guy. I swear to God.
No, I think that's cool. And I think that's cool. So I dig it.
Awesome.
Like, I told you, what did I show you at the beginning of this? ET? I mean,
yes, ET VHS.
We have hundreds of VHS.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. You can pull it out. I'm just trying to find a cool.
You had it clamshelled, which I was impressed.
Here I have a different ET.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, you have the one that everybody got.
Yeah,
but that clamshell's hard to find. Like you sometimes.
Yeah. But we do have Labyrinth, and we have like Labyrinth's my wife's. That's one of her favorites.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we got tons. We got all the Wallace and Gromit on VHS. And,
nice.
Yeah. Anyway, that David Barclay was such a good episode.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's I mean a lot knowing that, hey, you've been in the world that I absolutely adore, and you actually took the time to watch one of our other ones. Of
course.
You have no idea how much that means to me.
And how did you,
Jason, I'm sure.
How did you approach him?
And that was different. It was through Derek, actually.
No way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Backstory here, I introduced you to Derek, and we met on my photography page. And then I just said, well, this guy, because you said, oh, you have a really good eye for architecture. It's like, oh, I really appreciate that. I didn't expect you to even comment on it and didn't know. And then I clicked on it. He's like, this guy looks so familiar. And so I just clicked on it. I was like, oh, he's in Star Trek. And then I went, wait a minute. You're in The Expanse. You're in Orphan Black. You're in so many things that I love. I'm like, oh boy. So there was like a little bit of oh, this is great. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So
it turned out really, it was that turned out I'm really glad I reached out, because
Yeah.
sometimes you don't know. You're like, do you say something to someone you don't know? And then it
Yeah.
worked out. It's fine.
Yeah, it worked out. And
Yeah.
it's great that I'm not a crazy person. I'm just like, okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm crazy. So, yeah.
Oh man. Oh man. So how many exactly? I think you said 5 hours, but I just want to make sure. Did you say 5 hours in the chair for the makeup and the prosthetics?
Yeah, it was about it was a good 5 hours, and then they had to put the mech on. So they put the metal
Oh.
mohawk and there's an iPod Nano.
Oh, that's dope.
That's what it is. The computer screen on the side of his head.
Yeah.
They had to put all the stuff in, and all the lights. They have to assemble the lights, and the lights are like Bluetooth controlled. And there's like the guy on the mixing, the light mixing board or whatever. Sorry, lighting technicians. I'm
No, don't
sorry.
worry. Yeah.
But there's a grid with the guy who controlled it. So those lights were in that board, were controlled by the board. So it was like it was another 45 minutes, like once you got the set. And then, also when you get the set, like you're moving around, and I was getting hit and punched by Michelle. By the way, let's not forget I get punched by Michelle Yeoh.
You punch kicked and
Yeah,
thrown off a table. Yeah.
like you know.
Yeah. Living the dream.
But at any time I would jerk around with that gear, it would need to be re-hooked up, or the Bluetooth would kick out, or whatever the controlling mechanism was. It would have to be reset. So it was pretty high maintenance. And so you just kind of like, as an actor, you're like, okay, because they're literally in your face like this, and they're like, okay, rolling, action, go.
Yeah.
And then they're like, and then you have to start acting, right? So they're all over you, like tweaking, trying to get it. The VFX is in there, re-gluing stuff, going and touching up, and it looked amazing. Like I thought that it translated amazing
really well.
on camera.
I did too. The scene where you meet your demise, spoilers if you haven't seen the movie yet, he doesn't make it. If you haven't watched the film, be sure you do so this makes more sense. But your character gets burned alive.
Yeah.
Like, ouch. Was there any part of you? I know there was a stunt double, so you don't have to like, pull the veil. But was there any part of you that kind of wanted to do that?
Yes.
Oh, okay, I thought so. Because it was in my mind. I was like, I would totally try, even though I'm not. But
yes, I was like maybe I could. I always like fantasize about doing ridiculous stunt stuff. But now that I've seen it and I know what he did, Nevin is like, he's an incredible athlete, stunt person. And when I saw his work in this, when he did the cable pulls for the punches, I don't know if you remember those, they're amazing. And I'm like, dude, don't even think. Like, what are you thinking? You can't. Yeah. And the burn, he did the burn. The burn was amazing.
It was sick.
Yeah.
It was sick.
Burn was great.
Yeah. Unfortunately, because we met before the movie came out, and I was like, I really hope he doesn't die. And then I saw he's like, damn it.
Or did he?
Or did he? Or is that you still got your Prime Universe version somewhere? So there's always a way to bring you back.
When they're talking about the Vulcan character, it's my understanding that the Vulcan vehicle is like an automaton, right? And like Starfleet like got them on like a budget sale. Does that come out in the movie? Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's been so much like, but don't you guys get that like he was supposed to be a little bit like off, because he's like, it's like Starfleet cheaped out and got like the cheaper versions of the automaton, like defective versions. I always thought that was really funny.
So it's complicated when you have a character within a character, because like the little alien is its own separate character. So
true.
I'm sure that there's
it may have got lost in the mix.
Yeah. It may be harder to like kind of divulge that for folks. I love this fun fact about you that that's on your IMDb that I have to share with people, because I was like, oh wow, so your first on-screen kiss is with Willem Dafoe in a little movie some people may know called Boondock Saints.
Yeah.
How did that happen like that?
I got the part because I met Troy Duffy who's the director. And I got the part because when I auditioned, I played the kiss, and the whole scene is if Willem, who's in drag, was like the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen. And that just like Troy he thought that was the funniest thing. And so that's how I booked that role. And it was his first, and we talked about it, and we're like eating lunch. I remember we're eating lunch and talking about it like during lunch, and he went for it. He was just like, he really went for it. And we did it a couple of times, and
wow.
the crew just went nuts, and it was fun. It was just like, sure.
Did you mess with him? Did you have like garlic and onions for lunch, or did he mess
No,
with you?
we didn't. We purposely were like, we're eating lunch, and we're like, I always brush my teeth after lunch, so don't take it the wrong way.
Yeah.
You know? And so it was very professional, and he crushed it because he clamped down on my lip and pulled away, and then I think they added a sound effect of it like going. And I know it worked out really well.
Yeah. It's one for the history books. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. He's cool.
Yeah. You also had the opportunity to work along another Star Trek alum. You worked with Kal Meaney.
Oh yeah.
The fantasy film, A Lobster's Tale. Do you feel that it's easier to work on like a low budget film that has more of a powerful impact than like say Section 31? Do you feel like?
Yeah. Like a film like The Lobster Tale's like a little lower pressure. You know, when you work on a studio thing, and you have multi cameras and there's a lot of stakes going on, and that's a lot of pressure working on something like Section 31. And when you're working on an indie film, it's more of a collaborative effort, and there just isn't as much pressure. You know what I mean? The stakes are lower. And in that film, I was like part of the comedic relief. I was like,
right.
There was like three of us that were kind of like clowns.
Yeah.
A lot of fun. And have you met him?
No.
He's amazing.
I know. Yeah, it's a weird thing with me because I end up meeting a lot of people nowadays, but at that time I wasn't in this thing. It's one of the people I would like to meet for sure, but
absolute sweetheart, just lovely man. Yeah. I'm sure I probably worked with other Star Trek alum if you cross-reference it.
Yeah. It's always worked that way. And of course you work. I'm gonna a special shout out to our friend Damon Jones, who actually worked on this film with you. He was a background actor.
Okay.
And he was one of the guards for Michelle Yeoh's Empress Room. But
I don't know.
He was one of the the Praetorian type of guards. A lot of fun watching him rise into the world. He's trying to get to where you are. So if you ever run into him, he lives up there in Toronto and gets some background work. He's typecast as a cop a lot. So, and I noticed that you're kind of typecast as a mafia guy a lot. Because do you feel Dad and Noah was even a little mafioso?
I don't know if he's mafio. I mean, you got the gangster vibes from him.
Yeah, a little bit at first. Yeah. Once you get to know the character, it was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to play more gangsters, just because they're fun to play. But being typecast is like a pretty good thing. Like you want to be you kind of want to have like a thing. I feel like I could go anywhere sometimes. Like I kind of go all over the map. But anyway.
I mean that's the beauty of a character actor. Like somebody with yourself, you actually have range. Whereas like you can do different roles instead of being, oh yeah, we're gonna get Joe Pingway because he's the mafia guy. No, Joe's got a range where he can play these like funny characters or a serious character or a mean looking character if he wanted to. So I think that states a lot for your persona as an individual and your abilities in range as an actor. So
I was trying to get you to say that, and you
I read the note. No, kidding. But But it's fantastic. I think you have the gusto, and I feel like we're getting the exposure to you through Star Trek, but pretty soon we're gonna have another level of you when you're in the main roles.
Yeah, I think like to be honest, like I've had my acting career, like I've been doing this since 1995,
Mhm.
and it's been like I've worked steadily, uh, and mainly in Canada,
Mhm.
and I played like main roles and things. And you in Canada, you end up you can go from playing like a lead in something to the next thing you work on, you're like at the bottom of the call sheet. Like that, there's that's kind of what it's
Yeah.
like here. Um, but I will say, like, I'm getting I'm still learning things every day. Like I enjoy the job more and more
Good.
each year. Yeah, and the 31 experience was incredible. Like it's too bad that certain things about it just rubbed a lot of people the wrong way who are part of the community.
Mhm.
Uh, but I just it was an incredible experience, and I tried to pour everything I had into it. Like I really tried to honor the material and the process. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it shows. I think it shows. So what's next for you? What are your next roles,
Wow.
future plans? Are you directing again? What's the
I don't
deal?
I don't think I'm directing anytime soon. I'm always
Mm.
fit with writing stuff, but I am working on two indie projects. One shoots in Prince Edward Island,
Mhm.
and I think there's going to be VFX makeup actually for this character,
Oh,
just
very cool.
and uh, and there's something that's in development with like that I can't really talk about.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
that's fine.
Another indie thing. So there's like really good irons in the fire, but there's also it's a time in the industry where there's like a ton of uncertainty. So,
Mm.
like I think they're the big players have maybe trimmed some content production and output. So you never know. But
Mhm.
I'll be okay. And doing the voice of um, I do a voice of Whiff on Truckdown. So there's always some nice character work there. Um,
Excellent.
Not Trucktown, sorry, Thomas. And All Engines Go. The Thomas and
Oh, the
Friends.
new Thomas the Train?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. When I was a
Truck.
kid, it was weird because like George Carlin was doing it, and then it
Yeah,
switched to Ringo Starr, and you're like, "Is that guy from the Beatles? Like, was he?"
I think they did two different versions.
Oh.
I think, and now I'm not an expert on this, and I should know. I think that there was a UK version and a a UK version and an American version, but I'm not.
Maybe
Not
that's
sure.
why. But I just remember watching on TV and then noticing the switch, and I was like, "What's going on here?"
Who
So,
did you prefer?
who did I prefer? Oh, that's a great question. I prefer Ringo, no lie.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
me too. Even though I
Yeah.
absolutely love George Carlin.
George Carlin was amazing, and he
Yeah,
told it like it is,
yeah,
so
love
I
him.
always loved George for that,
Yeah,
but in the kid show, it was weird, like, as I grew older, it's like, "Why did they put George Carlin in this
yeah,
kid show?" It's like, "Whoa, no." You know,
yeah.
they should have put, maybe, Will Rogers or something like that, but it is what it is.
So how are you doing with this podcast? How are you finding it? You put out so many, like this has been going on for how many years?
2? I think
Okay,
2,
because
2
I've seen like when I scroll through it, there's like how many episodes do you have?
We have
Okay,
150.
I saw. Yeah, I was like, you have hundreds. Okay,
Yeah.
150. That's a lot of work.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I had some great people that I work with. Jason Roygaston, who unfortunately couldn't make it because of his tire or something, and, yeah, yeah. He's a great guy, he's hilarious, he's very famous on TikTok and Instagram. He does a bit where he's talking about the Star Trek starships, and that's how we met,
Hmm.
and that's how he came in as a guest and then became a mainstay to the point where he's my co-host. We are the hosts with the most. He is amazing. And then Jason, VHS Jace, he made this look good. So all these little stars that are
Yeah,
flying by you. Yeah,
yeah,
he's a mastermind behind that. Guy's a brilliant, brilliant videographer, and he knows what he's doing. So the collaboration that we had for the year and a half that we were rocking and rolling really went well. And I'm the guy that likes to talk to people, so I'll go to conventions and I'm the mouth, so to speak. So, and that's how kind of we got here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Well,
yeah. So thank you so much for joining us and hanging out with us in the Captain's Quadrant.
no problem.
Yeah,
And
this is a great experience. I think that people are going to have a really good chance to get a little FaceTime with you, and they'll get to know more about your character and what you've done. And they're going to go, I need to go back and watch Orphan Black. I need to go back and watch The Expanse because there's so much that you've
well,
done.
there it is a lot. Like, I mean, there's stuff you haven't even mentioned that's like kind of like in like there's Book of Eli. There's
Yeah.
what else is
You
there?
you did a short, you filmed the short behind in New Mexico in the Book of Eli.
What was the well, there's Godless and like it's just it's been really good.
Yeah, it's been great.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm looking forward to where you go next. It's going to be,
Thank you, man.
yeah, it's going to be really fun watching all the things that I'm going to be like, oh, there's Joe. And my wife's going to be like, what? And of course, you were in the Apprentice movie with,
Yeah, just they took out most of my stuff, but yeah, they got me in. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. But hey,
yeah.
at least you got in it.
It was very controversial movie.
Yeah, especially because he became president again, and
Yeah.
that happened.
Yeah.
And hopefully we don't have too much trade war stuff going on. Hopefully everything works out on that end, because
We can still be friends.
yeah, we'll be friends. Of course, that's never going to change. I absolutely implore everybody to check out all of the things that you've done. You're going to be surprised, and in a good way, because there's so much content for you to absorb and appreciate the work that Joe really put into it. And for sure, we're gonna see you in Star Trek again, because it's a very circular world. I feel it. I mean, I have no say in it. I don't know anybody, so I can't be like, tomorrow you're gonna get a call. I can't say that, but I can say that the way I've known Star Trek to be, you've got so many different people that have done. We interviewed two people that were BG actors. One has the Guinness Book of World Records for playing the most aliens. He played, I think, I want to say 1,200 different aliens.
What?
In Star Trek, yeah. And then we've interviewed Bruce Horick, who's also a Canadian actor, blind gentleman, and he was a Klingon and he was an Andorian. So that's why I asked him about the aliens, because you can come back as an alien and nobody's gonna know.
Bring it on.
Yeah. So we're hoping that you'll be back. I want to say to everybody, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for downloading. Please be sure to go and visit Joe on all of his wonderful shows and everything that he's done. You got to check out his short film. It's a lot of uplifting fun. And we will see you next time in the Captain's Quadrant.